Do not buy iQOO Z6 Lite 5G without watching this video. Otherwise, you will hate this phone after buying. iQOO Z6 Lite 5G is advertised as the world's first phone with Snapdragon 4 Gen 1 processor. This fact by itself creates some problems that I'm gonna talk about in this video. Before that, let's take a look at the hardware on this phone and see whether it's good or not. This phone, apart from the Snapdragon 4 Gen 1 CPU, has an Adreno 619 GPU with 4 or 6 GB of RAM. The important thing to note is that the phone does not come with LPDDR5 RAM and UFS memory, which means iQOO Z6 Lite 5G gaming test involving PUBG, BGMI, Call of Duty, Apex Legends etc. is disappointing. The camera setup is also bad with just a 50 megapixel main single camera. The macro camera is useless in daily life, and I don't understand why the ultra wide camera in the main iQOO Z6 phones was swapped by this 5G sticker. Definitely a negative for a phone of this price. iQOO Z6 Lite 5G display is an IPS LCD panel with 120Hz refresh rate, which is definitely a relief. If going by the pricing logic, iQOO would have given us 90Hz instead of 120Hz, I think. Now coming back to the Snapdragon 4 Gen 1 processor, the biggest problem is that this is the only phone having this CPU. So there is no good way to understand whether the CPU is good for long-term or short-term usage and whether it's having problems like heating, hanging, lagging, etc. It seems like iQOO decided to launch this CPU as a test dose on their unsold iQOO Z6 44W phones and rebrand them as iQOO Z6 Lite 5G. Just an experiment to see how the phone will perform with the particular CPU. And because of this, many users are facing serious problems on the phone. Now I'm gonna share some videos shared by people using iQOO Z6 Lite 5G for the past 1 month, and their user review can help you if you are planning to buy this phone. The first video shows black screen hang problem on the phone. The phone is not responding to touches or anything. The lock button also does not work. This phone seems totally hanging. Second video is also about the same hang problem, but this was shared by another iQOO Z6 Lite 5G user as a long-term review. The same response is present. No switches and no portion of the touchscreen seems to be working. This usually happens with heavy to medium usage of the phone, like using many apps like WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook and some other apps at the same time, or gaming on the phone. So if you plan to play games, then it's best you avoid this phone. The only fix for black screen hang problem is pressing and holding the volume down button and power down button till the phone switches off. Third video on iQOO Z6 Lite 5G is about touchscreen lag and again hanging problem. The touchscreen is not working at all times. This usually happens when the phone is hot, so maybe the heating issue is making the phone to work bad. So if you plan to play games on this phone, it is best you don't buy this phone as you are sure going to face hang problem as well as lag problem. This might not be entirely due to the Snapdragon CPU, but can be because of other hardware like the type of RAM and internal memory, which will make the CPU function not good. Another thing is that Snapdragon 4 Gen 1 processor is weaker than Snapdragon 695 processor, which by itself is a weak CPU. If you are looking to buy a phone for basic usage like calls, WhatsApp, etc., then you can buy this phone. Don't buy this for 5G internet as this phone will not support all 5G bands, which means you will not be able to use 5G internet everywhere. Another interesting thing is that you will have to buy a charger separately if you are buying this phone. That means you have to spend extra money for this phone after buying. So according to me, this phone is only meant for normal users who are gonna use their phones for calls, and there is nothing else that is interesting for anyone else who is planning to have a mid-range performer. So in overall, I would recommend everyone to stay away from this phone as it is only meant for people who plan to use phones for calls and WhatsApp. Everything right from the camera to hardware and the performance, everything is not so good for any normal kind of user who plans to use it for multitasking, using various social media apps, watching videos on YouTube, playing games and all. If you have any doubts, please mention them in comment section and I'll help you out as I can. Thanks for liking this video and subscribing to my channel and being a part of our smartphone user community. Don't forget to watch this video on various problems of iQOO Z6 5G.